On December 6, 1865, the 13th Amendment was ratified. The amendment was to abolish slavery in involuntary services, except as a punishment for a crime. Many colonists were unhappy with the new changes. As a result, black codes or laws were passed to try and force slaves back onto plantations. Some of the key people that were very unhappy with the abolishment of slavery were plantation owners. Now that they were not allowed to own slaves, it would cost more money for them to hire workers. Some would hire blacks, then chase them off right before they were to be paid. Many blacks died because they did not have the money to pay for the necessities for them to live. All the plantation owners wanted to do was stay rich, and they did not care who was hurt for that to happen. Some black codes were: any black found drunk will have to pay $5. A black in the military cannot carry firearms. All blacks must work for a white person. Blacks cannot rent or own property. Blacks cannot become artists, mechanics, shoekeepers. Blacks cannot marry whites. Separate schools will be made for blacks. Buses will be separated by race. And store owners can refuse service to anyone they choose. Even though the slaves were told that they were now free, they really were not. People would look for any reason to ridicule blacks, from walking on the same sidewalk to looking at a white person. If a black person was poor, their children could even be taken away. Since almost every black person was poor, the government made it nearly impossible for them to truly be free. The children and parents would then be forced to work in fields. President Andrew Johnson saw what was happening and overlooked it. He found it less important than everything else that was going on in the new nation. Whites were supposed to enforce these laws. That was shown in a variety of ways. Some were whipping, branding, and imprisonment. Death was only called for in extreme cases, such as murder of a white person. White police officers would patrol the blacks, so there would be a lot of prejudice in any situation. Not all whites enforced these codes, but most did.